Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sean. That was a great presentation. And Kristen, my gosh, if I had heard that sooner, I would have probably incorporated a lot more in my presentation today. So I am Kevin Bielmeier, as it says, president of CEDAS, the Connecticut Economic Development Association. We are very proud to partner with Connecticut Main Street, not only on this event, but as a partner for the whole year on all the events. They're a terrific partner in a lot of different ways, as you're going to be hearing about today and have already heard the great work that they do. I think anybody that works in this field understands that, or if you don't initially, you become to understand that main streets are the heartbeat of a town, of a city, and if you don't have it humming, if it's not really happening, the rest of the town suffers because of it. And if you can get it humming and get it working with the work of Connecticut Main Street to help you, it will bear dividends across the entire town and city. So, one last thing before I start is another shout-out commercial. Best Practices in Land Use and Economic Development is a program that CEDAS has. We encourage all our municipalities, whether you're a member or not of CEDAS, to participate in this program. It's an accreditation program. It's not a heavy lift. I encourage you to go on our website, cedas.org, to join us in this best practices so we can all share from and learn from each other. So please, there's more information at our table out front. A traveler stood at the edge of a vast and golden valley. In her hands, she held a chest of seeds, representing her life's savings, which she longed to plant and grow. She approached the first gate where the traditional stewards sat. They wore sharp suits and spoke in tongues of expense ratios and fiduciary duties. Yet when she asked how they would nurture her seeds, they demanded a heavy toll just to enter the gates, promising little more than to bury the chest in the dirt alongside everyone else's. Weary of the heavy fees, she walked to the next clearing where the digital oracles gathered. They shouted over one another, pointing to flashing signs that promised 100-fold returns overnight. They offered her shovels and pointed her to volatile rocky cliffs, but they vanished the moment the winds turned harsh, leaving her alone to face the unpredictable storms. Seeking a wiser path, she finally found an isolated mentor. But upon opening her chest, the guide shook his head sadly and said, "Yeah, your harvest is too small for me to care for. I only tend to the orchards of the wealthy. You must figure this out on your own." So the traveler sat by the road, her seeds locked in her chest. She had the desire to grow, the courage to take a calculated risk, and the resources to begin. But the doors to accessible, honest, and guiding mentorship remained permanently locked to her. Guiding mentorship. That could be found in a job description of an economic development director. This parable illustrates the way a potential entrepreneur or developer may feel when they approach your town, if they approach your town. But let's say they have. Who do they speak with when they enter your town hall? Is it consistently the same person or office, or do they follow the signs and find their way to someone who hopefully can assist? The old adage, you get one chance to make a great first impression, holds just as true for municipalities as it does for people or for businesses. As a prospective investor, because let me be clear, that's what a potential developer or business owner is when they come through your doors. How do you ensure you are making a strong first impression? Towns, like people, get a reputation. You often hear so-and-soville is not very business friendly. Less often you hear the opposite. More often, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. It is the experience and interactions that people have with your town that create this narrative. No slogan or tagline will change it. Good reputations take time to build. With the winds of change in elected offices, it can be difficult to build or maintain positive reputations. Businesses and investors look for consistency and clarity. They don't mind rules as long as they apply to everyone, and there is a map to navigate them. So how do you have a consistent economic development strategy, a consistent voice? By having a professional doing the job, day in and day out, year over year. The key is hiring that professional. The mayor of a major city in our state, who shall remain nameless, said to me, in all honesty, I'm not going to hire an economic development director because I want to save the salary in order to have funds to do economic development. Kind of an oxymoron, right? He went on to say that the fact was, he was the city's economic development director because no deal could be done, no permission granted or abatement offered without his consent as arbiter-in-chief. Now, while that may be true in some cases, is it the best model? After all, economic development is a long game and shouldn't be contingent on the election cycle. There are staple positions that grace our town halls, professionals who train and execute tasks with consistency and dedication. The building inspector, the fire marshal, finance director, town planner, town clerk, tax assessor, tax collector, and many more. In some cases, state statutes mandate these positions. So too should there be professional economic development directors, dedicated to growing a town. That is, if the town wishes to grow. But understand that no growth is not steady, it is decline. If you are not moving forward, you are falling behind. A challenge that I hear from those looking to develop across the state is the inconsistency of working from town to town. We all know Connecticut has 169 towns, individual fiefdoms, each with their own government. So is it any wonder that it's difficult to navigate how each operates when it comes to the process for opening a business or doing a development? Imagine if each town had a point person, more than a concierge, receiving interested parties, but someone who is proactive, reaching out to businesses in town to see how things are going, solving issues before they manifest and lead to vacancies. And if things are going great, get them to grow. This is BRE, Business Retention and Expansion, a tenet of economic development. Employees who work in other areas of the town, they simply do not have the time or training to conduct BRE. There was a time when the profession of economic development did not exist. But the International Economic Development Council, or IEDC, which offers professional training and accreditation, just celebrated its 100th year. CEDAS has been around since 1962. While Connecticut is known as the land of steady habits, if we are to move the needle economically for our state, this is one habit that needs to be broken. One village at a time, 169 times. Some town CEOs use their economic development director like their sidekick, Robin to their Batman, wielding them like a sword on projects. Others have no idea what to do with them, and either don't put money in the budget to hire one, or if they have one, don't fully support their activities. Which is interesting, because if you listen to any politician running for office, regardless of what party they're aligned or whether they're the incumbent or the challenger, the thing that they will talk about the most, and usually first, is economic development. It's what people want, what they expect from their leaders, and promises are always made to deliver it. Yet, when it comes to the budget, why is it that economic development is all too often not a priority? You look across our state and can see example after example of where municipal economic development positions are underfunded, defunded completely, or never in the budget in the first place. If I had a nickel for every citizen who has said to me in my tenure as an economic development director, "Can you get us a Trader Joe's?" or a Whole Foods, I would be rich. The truth is that desirable developers have choices, many choices. They're looking at your town long before they approach it. Depending on your reputation, many have already passed. Enticing them to consider your town takes skill, deliberation, and strategy. It takes a professional. If you get their attention, how you treat them upon arrival matters and takes a professional. helping them navigate the uniqueness of your town takes a professional. Let me put it another way. Some of you may remember a comedian named Jeff Foxworthy. He had a popular phrase that went something like this: if you had to climb to the top of your town's water tower with a bucket of paint to defend your sister's honor, you might be a redneck. So here's my version, and feel free to chime in. If you want to grow your commercial and industrial grand list, you might need an economic development director. If you want to attract new business to open up in your town, you might need an economic development director. If you want to engage and partner with state agencies like Connecticut Main Street Center, who can help activate your downtowns, or the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority on a housing project right next to your train station, or Advanced CT, attracting a manufacturer to that dormant facility on the edge of town, or your COG on a planning study, you just might need an economic development director. You want to know whether an existing business in your town is struggling and determine what help they need before they decide to leave? You might need an economic development director. You want to encourage existing businesses in your town to expand? You might need an economic development director. If you're a town CEO and you want to deliver on the promises you made to the citizens to grow the economy, relieve their tax burden, and improve the quality of life for everyone, can I get a hallelujah? You might just need an economic development director. If you want to engage the volunteers on your EDC and turn them into volunteers and not voluntolds, and leverage them into action, you might need an economic development director. If you want to win grant funding for your town from regional, state, and federal agencies, and then put those funds to use and properly report back on how they were used, you might need an economic development director. If you want to sell your town as a great place to live, work, and play and open a business and mean what you say, walking the walk, not just talking the talk, you might need an economic development director. If you want to present your town as a professional place to do business with that is consistent with practices in place, aligning the permitting process of building, planning, and zoning, and health and fire, where all areas interacting development work together and not alone in silos, you might need an economic development director. And finally, if you want to secure your future, you need an economic development director. Thank you.